A disabled employee, 16 years old, for eating fruit cups and eating chicken out of the trash. The food that y'all was waiting for. And they didn't even consider telling him, hey, look, even though it's off the floor, you as an employee still can't take it. It's still considered stealing. Y'all could have stopped him day one. Y'all really felt good about yourself locking up a 16-year-old disabled worker over some fruit cups? $110? That's how you treat your employees? How would anybody even shop there? And if nobody told you, remember Chemo told you, stay motivated?
Hello.
Hey.
So we have James here.
Who's James?
Right here.
Right here? Okay.
He is he works in our deli department.
Okay.
And we found out that he's just been taking like orders of chicken and fruit cups and stuff like that off the store
For 110?
Yep.
All right. James, you have anything on you need to be aware of?
Not
Don't
like
reach for it if you do. Don't reach for it if you do.
Okay, so I have a Sharpie and a box cutter in this pocket. All I have in this pocket is my phone and my earbuds, and then in my back pocket I have my wallet.
All right. Go ahead and stand up for me.
Okay.
All right, just go ahead and put your hand on the wall for me. I'm just gonna take everything out. We'll get it with you. All this stuff yours? Like the box cutter, that's not my property or anything?
That should be my property.
Yeah, that is.
So then I can stay here with them.
Yeah.
All right.
And everything else.
Anything in your shoes or anything like that?
Nope.
Go ahead and put your hands behind your back. Okay. You can put your palms together and drop that. Put your palms together. Palms together. Palms together.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. My question is, how did we get here? How did we really lose ourselves to the extent that we fail to see people like human beings? How did it become that it has to be like that? I understand that capitalism has really played a major role in making us less humans. James was just a teenager who was trying to find something to eat. And it didn't cause any problem to nobody. It didn't cause no problem to anybody, sincerely speaking. And so it becomes problematic when people find it really hard to accept that we have people in the society that doesn't have anything. You being a manager, that doesn't make you, doesn't validate you to feel like other people don't deserve to get something. If he was a good person, he should have helped by going and asking, what is the problem, brother? How can we help you? Instead of observing this 16-year-old teenager who works in this company, and then at the end of the day, wait for 3 months and then call cops on him. That was really crazy. It's so heartbreaking. It's so devastating seeing a teenager being arrested just because he took food out of trash can. Something that they would have left and something that they would have disposed. And then they are arresting him because observingly, he have seen him go doing that for 3 months. And he's just trying to feed. He's trying to figure it out. The United States is so messed up. Everyone is going through shit. Everyone is facing it economically. And I think it's at this time that he should have understood that this young boy is just trying to figure things out. Brothers and sisters, I'm just going to be letting you watch the video. I'll be back, and then again now I'll be giving my psychological analysis in regards to what I'm trying to say. I'm going to be tying capitalism with psychology, and then I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts in regards to this. I'm just asking you, for those who are watching me for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. And for those who are always supporting me through my Cash App, those who are always buying me a coffee, man, I really, really appreciate what you're doing. For those who are also sending me super thanks, I'm really, really grateful. So let's watch the video. I'll be back, and then I'll be sharing my thoughts at the end of it all.
What's up, America? Grocery store boycott. So now people throughout the United States are talking about boycotting the grocery store Meijer. Some places in the United States don't have a Meijer, but if you know what Meijer is, it's a $16 billion in value grocery store chain. So apparently Meijer had a 16-year-old special needs worker working in the food department of their grocery store. Not exactly sure which food department, but the 16-year-old every now and again would take a little bit of food to eat during his shift. Now the individual said he was going to be paying it back, but Meijer launched an investigation with the police department to track down all the food that this 16-year-old ate during his shift. Over a period of 4 months, it came to a total of $110. So did Meijer write up the special needs kid, or did Meijer make him pay it back? Absolutely not. They called the police to arrest him immediately and throw him in jail. So is it theft? No, because even the HR manager said that they knew that this kid was going to be paying it back. He had told them that that was the case. But that didn't stop the store manager from getting the police involved and ruining this 16-year-old special needs kid's life because he dared to eat a little bit of food while he was working that he was going to pay back. So now people are saying to boycott Meijer because they acted like the Gestapo. And I agree. Fuck Meijer. Fuck them right in their ear. This 16-year-old kid was working out an agreement to pay off this, and he should have been written up. Absolutely. So I'm calling on everybody to boycott Meijer. If you do have a Meijer near you, heavy-handed Gestapo tactics like that aren't conducive to me shopping there. I understand if you're a customer and you steal stuff, that's one thing. But if you made an agreement to pay off food that you've been taking and it was approved, but then the store manager calls the cops because he has a little dick, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Fuck you. Of course, if you don't know, this is what a Meijer looks like. So if you have one of these in your town, don't shop there until they stop being dickheads.
So there's a story that's going viral right now for all of the wrong reasons. The story revolves around a 16-year-old boy named James, who formerly worked for a store called Meijer. So his managers fired him and then got him arrested for eating fruit cups and chicken while working on his job. A couple of things strike me very wrong about this story. One, 16-year-old James is an individual that has a disability. He's a disabled individual. And the second thing is the food he was eating. He was taking it out of the trash. And they got him arrested for that. They claimed he ate over $110 worth of food. Take a look at this video. Take a look at this.
Hello. Hey. So we have James here. Who's James? Right here. Right here. Okay. He is he works in our deli department. Okay. And we found out that he's just been taking like orders of chicken and fruit cups and stuff like that on the for 110. Yep.
So keep in mind, after you just watched that interaction between him, the managers, and the police, this was food that they were going to throw away. Food that they were not going to sell to anyone. And if you're like me, you know people that work in certain stores, I will leave them nameless, and they throw things out after closing or prior to closing because they cannot reuse it or resell it. So, or sometimes they just give it away to people. What he was doing is after his shift, before he went home, he would go into the area there where the food was going to be thrown away and he would eat, feed himself. And keep in mind, he is a disabled individual just feeding himself. To me, this is the type of situation that should have been handled in-house. Are you for real? That this had to go to the police? You marked it up over $100 too, so that they could come and arrest him for that. This was trash. Food in the trash. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
So it's a situation going viral right now about a 16-year-old boy named James that was previously working for a supermarket called Meijer. So his managers got him arrested because he was eating fruit cups and chicken on the job. Mind you, it's two things that stood out to me about this whole situation. 16-year-old James is a disabled young man. And number two, the food that he got arrested for was food that they were throwing away. He was taking food out of the trash and eating it,
And they got him arrested for that. They said they locked him up for $110 worth of food that he ate on the job. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Look at this right here.
Hello. Hey. So we have James here. Who's James? Right here. Right here. Okay. He is he works in our deli department. Okay. And we found out that he's just been taking like orders of chicken and fruit cups and stuff like that off the for 110. Yep. All right.
Mind you, again, the food that he was taking or eating was food that they were throwing away. Food that they weren't going to sell to anyone. Again, he's a disabled boy. At the end of his shift, every night before he goes home, he'll take fruit or whatever is in that bin before he leaves. The trash bin. So you're telling me you get him arrested for eating trash. This is one of those situations where the company needs a lesson. Because what it is people work for these companies and they don't care about the people that work for these companies. Something as simple as that could have just been handled right there. They could have let him know that right there. They didn't have to get that young man locked up. But these are the type of companies that we're working in right now. They need to learn a lesson. That's crazy, right? This is the world we live in right now. I'm out.
So managers are having y'all arrested for eating fruit cups on the job? There's a viral video circulating on TikTok of a teenage boy named James who works for the retail chain called Mayor. Apparently, James has disabilities and he walks back and forth between this job and his home. And clearly he has some struggles and he had some financial hardship going on and the baby was hungry. So apparently while at work, James had been eating fruit cups and I guess he wasn't paying for them. So instead of his bosses coming to him and telling him, hey, James, don't eat the fruit cups no more, or even offering him some help and assistance to see if he needs anything, they allowed him to eat over $110 worth of fruit cups and called the police on him and had that baby arrested. I remember, when I was 19 years old and I was working at Dunkin' Donuts and my manager would let me have a little donut or two. And I remember, at the end of the night, we would count down the donuts and he would let us go home with like 2 boxes because they was going to get thrown in the trash anyway. And what they did at Mayor was very much vindictive and it was disrespectful and it was cruel. He did not have to get arrested for that. He worked at the establishment. They could have offered him help. They could have offered him some type of financial assistance. He worked for the company. And y'all mad over some fruit cups, and he hungry? Disrespect. Y'all, how do y'all feel about the situation? When I saw that video, it honestly burned a hole in my heart, and I couldn't help but be mad because I'm like, it will never be that serious. It don't take all that. It don't take all that. But let me know in the comment section your thoughts on how they treated that boy and what you think they should have did instead. Like, comment, and share for more commentary content.
I called Meijer Corporate to complain about their viral controversy, and this is what happened. If you don't know what happened at the Meijer store last year, it's coming out now, where they had an employee who may possibly have some level of personal challenges, who was picking food out that was going to be thrown away anyway because he was hungry. And they waited until he had stolen just enough fruit cups that were going to be thrown away anyway so that they could get him on $110 and charge him with a crime. And anybody who watches this recognizes just what an absolutely amoral thing this is for this management staff to actually do. So I call Meijer's because I think it's really, really important when something like this happens for people in the public to actually sound off back to these companies or government agencies or wherever it is. So immediately, my call is routed to a out-of-country call center to a woman who had challenges with the English language. And so she starts talking, and I start talking about this viral controversy. And at first she didn't quite know what I was talking about and then realized what I was talking about. And so then she grabs her script and she starts reading it. And it was difficult for her to read. A PR script that in essence says, yeah, this happened a year ago. There's a lot of things that have been left out of the viral video. You don't know what you're talking about and we did the right thing. So just so you know, Meyer absolutely believes that what they did here was completely defensible. That's the way that you treat people, that's the way you should treat your employee, and that they are just completely in the right here. And so I would encourage you to, why don't you give him a call? Why don't you make a video as well about Meyer? I will never shop at a Meyer, because when you watch this video and you have ever known or loved a person who has their own challenges, you recognize just how dark this was to do to this young man. And you have a sense of real moral outrage when you see it. And so Meyer Corporate, fuck you. And the way that you went about this and the way that you are still trying to absolve yourself as if you did the right thing here all the way through. Look, you don't understand your own controversy. This is why people are angry. It's because people are struggling. This guy's making minimum wage, and he was taking food that was going to be thrown out anyway. And if that's where you're at as a corporation, I hope you go down.
Bro, they built that case up over that special needs boy in Ohio that worked at Meyer for over 3 months, taking that $1 a day food. Arrested him in the store, walked him out over fruit cups, and taken part of chicken that they had already designated that they were gonna throw away.
I was already pissed when I seen that story about the boy that worked at Myers and he got arrested because he was eating fruit cups on the job. I'm assuming that this boy, eating them on his lunch break, he was taking them out the trash after the end of the day. Like, they had throwaway bin at the end of the day of shit, and he was taking the fruit cups out of the trash. They called the cops on him for eating $110 worth of trash. It wasn't even just a fruit cup that could have been sold. He was taking, away from profits or nothing. They called the police on him for eating out the fucking trash. This is the America we live in. Myers, y'all called the police on y'all employees for eating out the fucking trash? Are you serious?
Update on James, the disabled teen from Myers. So apparently this incident happened last year. This isn't a recent event of James getting arrested for eating fruit cups at Myers. As we all know, this was something that the team was building up against him for 3 months and then finally decided to call the police and charge him for eating said fruit cups. Well, according to the internet, everybody's saying that Joseph, the manager that caught James, has been fired by Myers. Myers released a statement talking about their integrity and how they hold their employees to a high standard and how they hold themselves to a high standard. Even if James knew what he was doing and he had been taking stuff off of the shelves before eating stuff out of the trash can, it doesn't negate from the fact that his manager still could have asked him if he needed some help. So yes, you got me there. It's true. James was taking stuff off of the shelves, but he was also still eating stuff out of the trash bin that were going to get thrown away. In my last video, people in my comment section were telling me that I didn't have all the facts, that James wasn't a totally disabled teen, that he had a little bit of autism and that he lived down the road with his parents, that he wasn't completely and entirely helpless. But it doesn't negate from the fact that the man was still hungry at work and he still needed some help. Facts are facts, and that's perfectly fine. But even still, it doesn't negate from the fact that Meyer is a crappy company for doing what they did to James. You allowed this case to build up against this teenage boy when you could have asked him if he needed help. And he actually even said in the conversation with the cop when they were leaving the office, which they did not have to humiliate him like that by making him walk out in front of the store in front of all his coworkers. He openly admitted that when he got the money that he would pay the money back. And it was only a little over $100. The managers could have paid that for some fruit cups. It was never that serious. But anyway, that's y'all's little update because everybody came at me in the comment section. Oh, you didn't tell all the facts. Okay, go find them then. And as always, for more commentary content, like, comment, follow, and share this video.
So here's the story. There's a teenage boy named James. He has disabilities. He works at a Mayor's grocery store out in the Midwest. So James is a good kid, walks to and from work every day, right? So he's been at the grocery store a few months. He gets called into management's office, and come to find out, management had been watching him for 2 to 3 months and had found he was eating pieces of chicken from the deli and eating fruit cups. So here's this kid with disabilities, right? So instead of asking him, is everything okay? Does he have enough to eat? No, they watch him over a 2 to 3 month period, and then they call police and have him arrested. The dollar amount for the food he ate, $110. And as the cops are arresting him, they ask him, do you have anything in your pockets? He's like, yes, I have a box cutter and I have a Sharpie. And one of the managers actually says, oh, that's ours too. So now here's a company that makes millions of dollars. You hire disabled people, and instead of asking him if he's hungry, if he's confused at his job, they had him arrested for $110. I would have paid the $110 bill and discussed it with them. This is a job for Justin Nunley. If anyone can raise money for a kid, it's Justin. And maybe we can get the kid something better to eat than a fruit cup. And where he doesn't get arrested.
Why did I just wake up to see that a 16-year-old has been arrested for eating fruit cups and chicken at Myers? To give some context, he's 16 years old, he seemingly walks to and from work, and he works at Myers. And he worked in the deli department and had eaten roughly $110 worth of chicken and fruit cups. And instead of the employers, a bare minimum, telling him, hey, we know you're eating these fruit cups, don't eat them or you can get in trouble, they decide to just let him continue doing it and then get him arrested. And if you watch the video, the cops treated him like he was a threat. They damn near treated him worse than they would treat a school pew-pewer. And I guess my question is, Myers and any company that does this, what do you gain from this? There are many things you could have done in this situation, like, I don't know, providing him some type of resources or just letting him eat the fruit cups, especially if you were going to dispose of them anyway, especially because on your website it talks about how you want to reduce food waste. But instead you choose to get this child arrested, something that's going to go on his record as a 16-year-old. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's ridiculous, and I think it's a shame on Meyer for calling this in at all.
Imagine being a grown adult with stable income and using that power to count up every penny over 6 months of expired fruit cups a disabled child ate because they were facing food insecurity because the job they have working at your store doesn't pay them enough to live, and tracking every penny of those expired fruit cups until it hit over $110 so that you could call the police and file very specific criminal charges against a disabled kid who works for you who's just hungry. Wow, God bless America. What a wonderful place we live in, where we've used all of our access to opportunity to really truly punish and degrade our fellow neighbors. Shame on you, Myers. And for you to have people answering your corporate line right now who are laughing in our faces over the customer service phone line when we're asking about this incident that happened at one of your stores doesn't really look like a good corporate look for you right now.
Have you guys seen that body cam footage that is circulating regarding the boy that got arrested at the Meijer grocery store? So this story comes out of Seven Hills, Ohio, and while the case and the footage is a few months old, it is now just circulating. It turns out that James was a young worker at Meijer grocery store in Seven Hills, Ohio, and every night after his shift, he was taking a fruit cup from the expired food stack and eating it. And instead of the manager just telling him, hey, listen, James, you can't do that, the manager decides he's going to record every incident of him taking this food so that the total of his theft reaches over $100, and it's $110. They call the cops and they have this boy arrested while he's at work. So they call him into the office and the cop is there, and the cop is like, why am I even here? The manager has this like super smug look on his face. There's a couple other people sitting around seemingly watching and doing nothing. I don't even know why they're there. And they're like, oh, you need to arrest James. And James is like, what did I do? I was hungry and I was eating expired fruit cups. The internet is wanting to boycott the grocery store chain. They've started a GoFundMe for poor James, who apparently is autistic. And they have found this manager, and this is him. And we all just want justice for James.
He didn't steal it. A 16-year-old disabled young man that was working at the Meijer grocery store was arrested because he was taking chicken and fruit cups out of the dumpster. Out of the dumpster.
It's already discarded in the system. It's literally discarded outside. You don't know his living situation. For y'all to go out y'all way because this man literally was going into the dumpster, taking out chicken and fruit cup. He didn't go in, he didn't steal it. He didn't go to where the chicken was and just took chicken, ate it, and didn't pay for it. He didn't go on the shelves and just took fruit cup. Y'all were throwing them away. So for you to go out of your way as a manager is crazy to me. And again, this young man is disabled. You don't know his living situation. That might be all he has to eat. That might be his only source of food. Even if he's working, you still don't know. In this economy today, listen, a lot of people are starving. If you've never felt hunger, I'm not like, oh, I'm a little hungry. No, I mean hunger, where you don't have anything to eat. You don't know how you're going to get your next meal. I don't wish that upon anybody. You don't even have 60 cents to scratch up to get oodles and noodles. I don't wish that on anybody. For y'all to do what y'all did to that 16-year-old young man is just crazy to me. And for you to be a grocery store, Myers Grocery, y'all should be ashamed of yourself.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing great. It is really so much devastating that the capitalist nature of the United States has made it people become less humans, and this is a phenomenon that we need to address. This is a phenomenon that we need to talk about, because at the end of the day, we are human first, and everything we do, we need to understand that people are going through something. But trying to understand the James story, this is the dehumanization of vulnerability. Why am I saying so? James' story is a stark example of how corporate environments often fail to recognize or to accommodate human vulnerability. Psychologically, when institutions prioritize rules over empathy, they foster what social psychologists call moral disengagement. What is moral disengagement? Moral disengagement is a process where individuals justify harmful actions by distancing themselves from the humanity of others. And in this case, James, a disabled teenager walking miles to work and scavenging discarded foods, was not seen as a person in need, but as a liability. The manager's decisions to surveil him for months rather than offer him help shows a system that values compliance over compassion. It is all about profits. There is nothing like humanity. According to them, you always have to earn what you're working for. You always have to earn what you want to get. It's not about how is your mental health, how is your physical condition, how do you reason. Like, I understand, like from a normal perspective, from a perfect society, we need to have a manager that usually asks, how are you doing back at home? How is your mental health? How is everything? Even for a productive work, for a company to be productive, they need to have a person that usually asks for the welfare. Every company, every business needs to have a welfare day where they try to find solutions to the problems of all these things that are happening. People are going through difficulties, and understanding that you need to go and check on somebody, even if you are valuing profits. The United States have been all about profits instead of focusing on the mental health of a person, because for the productivity to work, you need to have people in good shape. I'm going to be talking about surveillance over support. Now, the fact that James was observed for 3 months before being arrested reveals a deeper pathology in corporate behavior: the preference for punitive control over proactive care. This aligns with the psychological concept of authoritarian organizational culture, where power is maintained through strict enforcement rather than mutual respect. Instead of asking why a young employee felt compelled to take discarded food, the manager chose to criminalize survival. This isn't just poor leadership. It's a symptom of a broader cultural illness where empathy is seen as weakness and surveillance is mistaken for responsibility. And that's how crazy it is. And we need to understand that concept, and that's how it works. Also, when we talk about Capitalism blind spot, human need. The only blind spot that capitalism has is considering human beings. It didn't consider human beings. And that's where the problem is, and that's why we're seeing all these problems. American capitalism often operates on the assumption that all individuals are autonomous. All individuals are autonomous agents capable of making rational choices. But this ignores the reality of structural inequality and psychological need. James' actions weren't driven by greed, if you understand. They were driven by anger, scarcity, and perhaps even shame. Yet the system responded not with understanding, but with arrest. This reflects a failure to integrate human-centered designs into workplace policy, where the emotional and material needs of employees are considered secondary to profit and liability. And that's how crazy it is. And we need to understand people are not seeing other people as human beings. They're seeing other people as commodities for profit or liabilities. Right. I'm also going to be talking about the criminalization of poverty. Yes, this is one feature of capitalism. From a psychological standpoint, the criminalization of poverty is deeply damaging. It's not just to individuals like James, but to a society at large. When corporates treat acts of desperation as criminal rather than symptomatic, they reinforce a culture of exclusion. This creates what sociologists call institutional betrayal, where the very systems meant to provide opportunities instead inflict harm. James' arrest sending a chilling message that even the most vulnerable are not exempted from punishment, even with their actions pose no real threat. Lastly, I would like to address the absence of empathy in corporate America. James' story is not just about one boy. It's about a system that has lost its moral compass. Empathy, which psychologists identify as a cornerstone for ethical behavior, is often absent in corporate decision-making. Instead, companies are driven by instrumental rationality, doing what's most efficient or legally defensible rather than what's right. Until American business begin to value people over policies, stories like James will continue to unfold each and every day, and each one will be a quiet indictment of a culture that has traded humanity for profit. It has always been humanity for profit, and that's how corporate America operates. And so, brothers and sisters, I invite you to let me know what you think about this video. Again, I'm your host and presenter, Generic Stories, but until then, I'm hoping to see you again later. But until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.